Good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here tonight. It is Wednesday, September 10th, 2025. I'm Nate Eaton. Thank you for being here today. Let me know where you're watching from and if you have any questions, and I'll try to get to those, as many as we can at least. Tonight's program is an inside look at the women's maximum security prison in Pocatello. This is where women on death row stay. Right now in Idaho, there's only one. She's been there. This is where Lori Vallow Daybell is now staying. Now, I had never been into this prison before a few years ago. I should back up. A few years ago, I went on kind of an off-the-record tour of the prison just to see what it is like, and I had hoped to get our cameras inside to show you, the public, what things are like inside. We hear a lot about prisons. We hear a lot about jails. We hear a lot about where's the worst facility, where's the best facility, all sorts of talk about that. And this has definitely been in the news lately, with Brian Koberger being booked into the maximum security prison in Kuna, Idaho for men. But now we're looking at the women's facility in Pocatello. There are other women's facilities in the state, but this is the most maximum security building prison that they have in the state of Idaho. So you're found guilty of murder, you're found guilty of life in prison, you're given life in prison, you're going to go to this facility. As I mentioned, there's one woman on death row, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about her. She is in this prison. I did not see her when we went into the facility, but she's been in the news lately. And her name is, let me find it for you, Robin Rowe. She's Idaho's only woman on death row, and the Idaho Supreme Court recently, last Thursday, less than a week ago, ruled to deny a request to send her case back to district court for a possible resentencing to life in prison. Rowe was convicted of 3 murders more than 30 years ago, so she has been there for more than 2 decades on death row, at least. Her attorneys argued she received inadequate legal representation in her original trial when she was sentenced to death, and that she now has cognitive impairment. She has some brain issues, according to her attorneys, and did back then. And had that been introduced at sentencing, they're saying back then that it could have impacted her sentence and she could have gotten life in prison rather than the death penalty. Judge Moeller on the Supreme Court said that nearly 3 decades later, she's asking the court to revisit the same arguments, but with a different result. She was found guilty. She's now 67 of killing her husband and 2 children when she set their Ada County home on fire while they slept in 1992 in an attempt to get insurance money. She was convicted a year later in March of 93 and handed the death penalty later that year. So she's in this facility. Didn't see her this time around, but we walked through it. And apparently, Lori Vallow Daybell saw me during this tour. I did not see her, but she messaged me after, and I'll share with you, if you care, a bit later on what she said. But for now, I want to start off by having an interview with the warden, Janell Clement. She has been with the IDOC for several years. She's the warden over the prison, and we spoke for about 20 minutes. I want to play you this, and then I want to play you the tour, and then right here, I have the commissary list of what these women can order when they're in prison and what they're paying. It is quite detailed. Like, did you know that you can get a typewriter, correction tape, headphones, a Iron Man watch, a combination lock? It's all right here. I have the list right here. It's like 26 pages. I'll go through a few of them because we're always curious about that. But for now, let me play you my interview with the warden, Janell Clement. Okay, so I'm here with Janell Clement. She is the warden here at the Pocatello Women's Correctional Center for the Idaho Department of Correction. Tell me, you guys are the only women's prison in the state?
No.
No, there's one more. Tell me about that.
There's 2 facilities in the Boise compound. They're in the South Boise complex, and one takes our writers, and the other facility takes minimum and medium custody women.
Okay, so you're the maximum security.
Correct.
And how many women are here?
356, give or take.
And what type of reasons why are they here? Why are these women here?
Lots of different reasons, from drug and alcohol charges, which is primarily a lot of what our women struggle with, and that's what their charges are, and on up to more egregious violent offenses.
What is a day like for people who are here at the prison?
It varies, honestly, between some will get up and go to work. They have facility jobs that they can go to, like kitchen. They're helping prepare the meals for the ladies that are here. And they get up early. They'll go to the kitchen. They'll work. They'll come home in the middle of the day and then pick up their education. We have ladies enrolled in college, so they will engage in their college courses after that. They can go to recreation and walk around outside, or use the weights that are in there, or some of the other different amenities that are offered in rec.
And for those that want to go to like a library, is there a library, books, or?
There is a library. They don't get to visit the library and have access to that, but they do on their tiers have access to the books that are available in the library. So they fill out a form on the ones that they'd like to check out, and then they're brought to them. So it happens once a week. They can do a library book exchange.
So a lot of people have questions about what happens in a prison. We're curious about stuff like that because there's been television shows
Absolutely.
that show probably not the reality of it. And then you hear about celebrities that go to these really cushion facilities. Mm-hmm. So what is life like here? I mean, how would you describe it?
It's a pretty normal day, honestly, for the most part. It just depends on what they're engaged in and the things that they're choosing to do while here, whether it's programming classes, education classes, mental health classes that are available. And so it can just vary from moment to moment on up to sometimes we have a little bit harder days that are a little more engaged.
You mentioned mental health. How big of an issue? I would imagine that's got to be a huge issue, not just in this prison, but worldwide.
Absolutely, it is. It's becoming more prevalent with the society these days. We're getting more chronically mentally ill folks in. We have the behavioral health unit for women in the state of Idaho, so they are housed here if they have significant mental health concerns and diagnosis, so they are admitted to our behavioral health unit. And while they're in there, they get help with medication, they have access to counselors, DBT groups, and things that will help them really learn more about their mental illness, how they can proceed forward, give them some coping skills, some ways to adjust so that when they are released, they're stable on some medication and they have the coping skills to go forth and be a productive member of society.
What about dental care, medical care, things like that? How does that work?
We have infirmary for the state, so women can come and stay in our infirmary and can get admitted there if they have more significant medical issues. But we have medical access, dental access. We have ortho that comes in, which is, if they need eye exams. We have radiology come in. We have physical therapy come in. There are on occasion off-site appointments that they have to go to, but like obstetrics and gynecology comes in and takes care of our women who are getting ready to deliver, and they get treated for that. So we have a really good system and access to all sorts of medical care that they need. They do pay for their medical care in most instances, so it's not free to them.
So a lot of women come here and they want to better themselves, mm-hmm. so they can get a job. Can they get a job, and what are some educational opportunities for them?
Yes, we have about 130 jobs that they're able to apply for.
130?
Mm-hmm.
All on site here?
Yes.
Wow.
So it ranges from janitors on a unit to going to kitchen. You have 2 shifts for kitchen, morning shift and night shift, to recreation workers, to ILD, which is kind of like janitorial services in the hallways, laundry workers, we have property workers, medical janitor, we have work crew at our Unit 1, which is like our community reentry center, and they have jobs on whether they go on a work crew to provide services in the community, or they're on work release and they go to a job in the community and then return.
So tell me about some of the educational opportunities to here with the women.
Absolutely. We have an opportunity through our educational programs that women can get their associate's degree, their bachelor's degree while they're here. We partner with several colleges around the state where they offer opportunities with a Second Chance Pell Grant and other financial opportunities for them to engage in education that they are responsible for. And they really are finding that super successful. You can also get certifications while you're in our custody as well, like through NCCER. So you've got the construction trades with maintenance, electrician, all of the different various vocational programs that you might think of.
Right.
We have a gal that left with her forklift certification, and she went out and got a job in the community that was paying her $20+ an hour. So she is now a contributing citizen and doing really, really well in the community. It set her up for success to have those degrees, that certification, and the skills so that when you walk out, you can pay your fines and fees, you can give back to restitution, and you can be a really good providing citizen in the community, because 97% of our people incarcerated will be coming out and will be your neighbor. And
97. Yeah.
And so we want to, reinforce for people that public safety is our number one important thing, and accountability. And you can do that through treating people with humanity and also education, providing them skills so that they can go out and really be better prepared for their family and their lives to be a contributing member of society. The goal, right, is for them to not return to us ever, not just not recidivate, but to not come back into the criminal justice system.
Yeah. So when these inmates come here, is this something that's totally up to them to decide? I'm going to get my degree, or are there some that just want to lay down all day and watch TV?
There are some that don't engage in extra programming. They have to do the programming that's required to them when they come in based on what their risk levels are and their needs, and that is ordered to them, and that's through the court services. And so they attend those classes. They're mandatory. It really is, if you choose to want to do something different with your life, to engage in those certification, those construction classes, the online college classes. We have some teachers that come in and teach some classes as well, and push their secondary education and go home and want to leave with something better than they came in with. We have a lot of women, though, that are in those programs and being successful, and so really their word of mouth is the powerful thing. They go out and talk to their bunkies about how wonderful the things that they're learning is, and they are just enjoying class and didn't realize that they're really great at math and they had no idea. So the power of spreading that is through the women themselves and being able to articulate it, what it's doing for them, and it offers just a glimmer of hope. If they can do it, I can do it. And so it really provides a great pathway through the system in order to get them out, prepare them for community supervision or not community supervision, to be a better contributing member.
How do you handle and work with the women who are here for life, or those that are on death row? I believe there's only one at this point, but how are things different with those particular inmates?
It just varies, but for the most part, they have access to those programs. Death row is handled a little differently and separately, but honestly, our other ones who are here for life have access to the education programs, have access to our mentors, and have access to education. They absolutely can engage in that and come up with degrees and diplomas and certifications.
Everybody wants to know about the food in prison and in jail. What type of meals are here? I know some smaller rural counties in Idaho actually have restaurants that give the meals because they don't have a cooking staff. Some use pot pies or frozen freezer meals. What are the things like here at this facility?
Yeah, we don't use that. The food is strictly made by our food service officers, and our residents help prepare the meals. And so I think they offer a good variety of things. They have favorites, right? Some of the meals are the most favorite, I think, is a Chinese dish that has rice, or it's chicken and rice. There's a few things that are the favorites. Pizza, I hear, is another one. So they have a variety of things, and others, like most places you eat, are just not their favorites. But they do make it fresh and make it here daily. We have the food shipped in, and it is cooked right here in the facility.
And how does commissary work?
Commissary is an interesting topic. We contract with Keefe Commissary, and then they have access to the menu that Keefe offers. So for instance, if you offer sweats on the commissary, like a pants or a sweatshirt or a t-shirt, you have access to buy that with the own money that is on your books.
I see.
So if you have family members or from working in a job and you have money on your commissary account, you can purchase those things. It's extra, like we take care of all their needs, like their housing, their clothing, their medical, like that's here for them. But it's extra things you might want on top of that. Like for women, hair dye is pretty popular. And
makeup?
There is makeup on, it's limited amount, but there is some small capacity of those things that are important to help you with your self-esteem and your self-worth. They don't have access to a lot. It's a lot more of chips and soda. The prices are fairly steep on those, and so when you're working with a job that only pays you 40 cents an hour, it doesn't build up a lot of money in your commissary account to be able to purchase things that are really pricey on that commissary menu.
But they can get it if family members add money to their account. Is that where they can buy like a TV?
Correct.
And do they have internet access?
They do not.
They don't, but you can get a tablet to email and things like that.
They offer a tablet. We're just switching to a new tablet system that I think will offer them some better capacity. If they're engaging in education, it's hooked to a different ICANN service, but they do not have access to connect to Wi-Fi and have any of that access, no.
Have you always worked in the Women's Center, Janell?
Yes, previously I've worked in juvenile corrections and misdemeanor probation and parole, and in the social work world, I'm a therapist by trade before becoming a warden. So,
what got you interested in this career?
Just being a social worker, caring about people and wanting to make a difference in people's lives, and being able to role model, show them the way through. What are some coping skills? How can we do this? And honestly, the system is called here is rehabilitation, but oftentimes we're habilitating. Some of the women don't even have skills to know how to budget, how to run a family, how to cook meals, very basic things that adulting aren't taught. You know, how do you get insurance? What kind of insurance do you need? And so I just wanted to get involved and help. And when I was a younger gal, got involved in the social work program, got my bachelor's degree and master's degree, and worked at 5 County Detention and Juvenile Corrections in St. Anthony for about 10 years, and just fell in love with the population and the things that we're trying to do to help people have a productive life and be safe, learn from the choices they've made to move forward and become a better person in general.
There might be people watching that say, she's making it sound like a summer camp.
Correct.
How would you respond to those type of things? I mean, this is still a prison. This isn't like a camp where you're going to come for 3 weeks and go home.
No, absolutely not. No. Coming to prison, you know, you're losing your rights, and the punishment is being, you know, not instilled by us, but that's from the justice system, judges and such. Coming here, you do lose access to a lot of your freedoms. And the punishment isn't being in prison. The punishment is coming to prison and losing those freedoms. There are things that are not pleasant living in a prison. You know, if you're on one tier that we have 33 women housed, you're one of 33 unopened bunks. On certain tiers and certain units, you have 33 women that you are vacillating for to use the bathroom, use the showers, and it's loud. Women like to talk, women like to communicate, and it can be really loud on occasion. And so that's not really conducive to healing. That's not really conducive to maybe wanting to change your behaviors and not engaging in that criminal thinking when you're hanging out with a lot of women who are here for a similar criminal thinking and mindset. It's most of my women, I would say we maybe get 10 women who have visits a month. So, and some of those are repeat. A lot of women don't have families or children that can come visit because their grandparents are taking care of the children while they're out there, and they can't afford to come to Pocatello. Boise, there's a lot more people, and we're kind of out here. And so there's not a lot of contact with children unless it's through the phone, or loved ones for any type of support system actually to be more conducive for helping them be ready for those supports and learning what they're doing while they're incarcerated, to come out and to support them with managing their lives and having to maintain the rules and accountability.
So what are some of the challenges you face running a prison?
Sure, there are always challenges. There's pros and cons to the job. And department-wide, we face a variety of challenges versus the difference of just being a person doing the job with my family and the things that I face, and being a warden here at a facility that is charged with the responsibility of 355 women, 100 volunteers, probably about 150 staff. So there's just varying sundries of things that can be challenges on any given day.
Right. Is it different, do you think, running a prison for women versus men?
I absolutely do, but I haven't ever run a facility for men. I've visited, but I haven't actually worked in a men's facility. I worked with juveniles, but in the system, but that were male and female. That being just a strictly facility of a warden, being a warden of a women's facility, to me is very different than in a men's facility. Women like to ask a lot of questions. How come? Why? We just want to know. And the communication skills that are needed in a female facility are much higher than I think in a men's facility. They're just differences in personalities and genders that we find. But I also think that charges us to be really good communicators, to be able to help set better role models for people and teach them that there is hope moving forward in their life, to have better communication skills, and it increases their family skills going home. It increases their ability to have better communication with my officers. So there's really pros and cons to it, and I'm just preferential to wanting to help the women.
Yeah. Best part of the job?
People. I love the people. I love staff. I love the women that are here. I love helping people, right? So helping them see that they've made bad decisions not necessarily makes bad people, and the difference between the moral judgment and actions, right? I would think that most of us wouldn't want to be in the same situation. However, at any given day, you might make a decision that drop your phone, hit someone. It's not always things that are the most horrific crime in nature. We do have those, absolutely. But just looking at, if you see the hope come on in someone's eyes, I had a gal who, for probably 7 years that I knew her, was just more of a troublemaker, involved in some of the negative things that come with being involved with prison, negative associations, and acting out behavior. And she got engaged in the education program, and it just, the light came on in her eyes, and she watched other women being successful and coming out with their degrees, and she was like, if they can do it, then I can do it. And so her life completely shifted gears 360. She started hanging out with other people and mentors and positive people that had the same goals, right? And had to kind of put the other friends to the side and say, I can't hang out with you right now, and change that arena. So for me, watching that hope come on and see that shift in the life change, hopefully is going to go forward, and they're going to touch a lot of other people's lives, like their families, their children, the people they work with, their probation and parole officers. So the hope that can spread, that people can go out and become contributing members of society and good citizens. They're going to be our next door neighbors. Yeah. That's why you treat people well with dignity. I think it's super important to develop a better, for lack of a better way to put it, a product, putting out into the community that wants to be good members of society, and really helps create a safer Idaho and increase public safety.
I understand you have a mentorship program here at the prison. How does that work?
It is absolutely phenomenal. We have a group of women who have become peer mentors. They go through a certification process of their own. They go through 12 weeks of classes and courses teaching from motivational interviewing to conflict resolution, anger management, self-esteem, self-worth classes in order to be a mentor for someone else. So once they go through that 12-week class, they're now eligible to become a mentor. They start at a bottom level. There's 3 different levels of certification, and the very top is a peer mentor. And when they reach those different levels, they can do different things, but they really are a support to women in the facility. So women supporting other women. That lived experience, I think, is so powerful in order to help them see a different way, right? In prison, if you think about, you're all here for all of them, negative circumstances. And so when you see somebody trying to be positive, how do you harness onto that so they can model that behavior, help engage them in classes that are really going to give them the self-esteem boost, help them have budgeting skills, help them have communication skills, and it just seems to flow from there. So our mentors are very powerful in engaging people in education, changing behavior, supports for if somebody's feeling down and you don't have access, in the night to a clinician. So really they provide a bunch of support that is better provided by that one-on-one peer mentoring system than it is by staff. We're not here living the lived experience every day.
Right, yeah, because you're with somebody that's going through it with you.
Yes.
And can see you eye to eye, whereas a staff member might not know the experience.
It's just powerful.
Yeah.
That lived experience is really powerful. And so we rely on that to help shape the decisions we're making and doing what's right for facility safety and for our residents as well.
Well, hopefully everybody watching, you now can know about the Pocatello Women's Correctional Center, that you don't have to come here and live. Otherwise, you'll see Janell maybe every day. But I appreciate you being candid about what goes on here and some of the opportunities that the inmates have, the residents have. And thank you very much.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for coming.
And my thanks to Janell for being so open to chatting with me about what goes on in her facility. I imagine that they see a lot of interesting scenarios with different people. It's like a city there that you're managing. Okay, I want to show you a couple of stand-ups from around the prison, but for now, let me show you some video. This is just video that I'm going to talk over. You can see outside the prison that has the chain link fence and the barbed wire at the top. I believe it's been decades since anyone has actually escaped this prison. When you drive up, you see this sign, the Pocatello Women's Correctional Center, on the outside of a brick building. This is one of the hallways that, when you think of a prison, you're probably going to think of something like this. That leads down to the dining room, and then you can see this is a cell that I'll walk through in just a second. I'll show you the glamorous life of a prisoner inside these cells. It reminded me a lot of Lori's cell in Arizona. You can see there's the toilet that's hooked to the sink, and there is some signs up in the hallways. There's a chapel, there's education, there's recreation, there's different units. Unit 2 go that way. Unit 5, Lori Vallow is housed in Unit 3, and then Unit 4 is down the other way, along with medical, property, laundry. There is the laundry facility, and it's always going during the day. Inmates will run the laundry, will make sure that things get taken care of. They do get paid. We'll talk about that in a minute. There's the warden. There's Jessica Clement. I'm sorry, not Jessica. Janell. Jessica Clements works for the Idaho Falls Police Department. That's why I get that confused. I was walking down the hall. Now, this is the outdoor rec area. I'm going to pause it here for a minute because, as you can see, it's a nice, big, grassy area with a view of the mountains. It's large. There's sprinklers on. There's some hoops. I don't know if there was a ball, but the women will go out and lie down on the grass, walk around the track, get some exercise. Some can go out a lot more than others. I guess it depends on the sentence. And if you're obviously in max security and you're a danger to others, you're not going to go out there. But if you're fine, if you're, being a good person, you can go out. Now, an interesting thing, they have a couple of gardens that the inmates keep up. This is a garden right out in front, and it produces produce. They actually will take the produce and use it in the dining room, in the cafeteria when they make the meals. And the inmates will take care of this garden. There's another one just across the way here that's more flowers right there. Or maybe I showed you them in reverse order. Anyway, there's 2 gardens. One has the flowers, one has the produce. This looks like it would be more of a produce type garden. There we go. And let me just close out. There we go. There's some other garden areas. And the view, you can see the view right up there from the top. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful location to look out and see the view. And especially when it snows, it's just a nice little area. So there's some video that we took inside the prison and outside with the gardens. And now I want to show you a couple of me explaining some of the areas in the prison. When the women are brought here to the correctional center, they're each issued their own set of gear, you could call it. And let me show you what's in it. They have a blanket, they have a laundry bag here with some socks. There's also a towel, some pajamas, there's a sheet. In addition, they get some shoes and toothpaste, things like that. And then they're labeled so that the laundry people can keep track and make sure that they end up with their own materials at the end of the day. All right, let me take you into one of the cells here in the prison. This is a different one. This is one of the very few single cells. Most of the cells throughout the facility have a double bed here, even a triple bed. You can see they're not very big. In a lot of the other cells, they'll also have a desk in this area, maybe a locker. Of course, there's the toilet with the sink, and then the faded, somewhat near piece of metal here. The inmates will be in cells just like this, and then they're able to go out into their pod and associate with other inmates who are here. Depending on the security level, they will go down to the cafeteria to get food. They're able to, talk with other inmates in the cafeteria, but most of the time they would be here in their cell with another inmate with them. Okay, we're here in the kitchen. All of the meals are freshly made here. The inmates are served breakfast, lunch, and dinner. For lunch, there's some bread, some ham salad. It looks like there's a cookie and a banana that they can take. And then for dinner tonight, it's lasagna, freshly made here. The inmates put it all together, and in just a few minutes, they will be here to pick up their food and enjoy their meal. So are you hungry for lasagna? Do you want some lasagna? It actually smelled pretty good in there. Different facilities across the country have different things, and maybe the Pocatello Women's Correctional Center isn't a bad place to be with that food. I know that the last time I interviewed the warden, 3 or 4 years ago, right after Lori Daybell was sentenced to prison, I went through and did an interview with her outside. And I know that there were several people in the comments saying, oh, it's like a country club. I don't think I'd go that far. This was not like Martha Stewart living, but I'm sure there are worse. Okay, now to the issue that really brought you here, the commissary. What can you get in prison? Can you get different things? Well, and I'll tell you what it is. And the money is split between the company that does the commissary and the prison system. So if you have money on your books that you get, as she talked about in that interview, earning money with a job, or your family members put monies on your books, you can buy some of these things. For instance, you can buy a Pro Club sandal size 9 for $20.16. And this shows who's eligible for them. All custody levels, if you're on a rider, if you're whatever, you can get them all. There's a hair relaxer and hair dye. $9 for hair dye, $15 for a hair relaxer. Nail clipper, no file, is 43 cents. Tweezers, 50 cents. A do-rag is $8.71. Uh, an antenna, a digital antenna, is $18.42. You want a watch, an Ironman watch for men, $68.26. There's earbuds for $4.50. Let's see what else is interesting. There's a bath towel. You can get your own towel, so you don't have to use the one that is. Well, I don't know if they issued a towel. Was there a towel in there? I don't think there was. A towel is $11. Your own bedding is a blanket is $15. A pillow is $12.84 if you want a pillow. We have clothing, all sorts of sweatshirts. We have deodorant, women's briefs, Reeboks. You want a pair of Reeboks, $54.41. You want healing crystals, $16. There's all sorts of religious herbs and oils that you can order. There are religious jewelries that you can order. There's a nose hair trimmer for $16.57. I'd have to get one of those. You can get an alarm clock, no radio, for $25. What else? And by the way, the prison, the IDOC would review all of these items and say, yes, this is approved for here. No, this is not. You can get a guitar tuner for $39. There was a guitar on here somewhere. I need to look for it. Guitar strings. There's all sorts of different shampoos, deodorants, conditioners, soaps, toothpastes. There's dental picks. There are, you can get a folder with a Velcro strap for $2. There's Advil, oral care, handkerchiefs. I'm sorry if you're bored, but I find this interesting. You can get a manila envelope for 45 cents. A flex pen is 45 cents as well. Oh, the envelope was 12 cents. There's a pencil sharpener, which is not allowed at Pocatello Women's Correctional Center. I wonder why. So save your 84 cents that you'd spend on that pencil sharpener because you can't get it in Pocatello. Laundry detergent, which is interesting. I wonder if you request them that they wash your clothes with the detergent. I don't know. Coffee, Swiss Miss hot cocoa. Here we go. Here's what everybody cares about, the soda pop. A Gatorade is $1.62. A Pepsi is $2.37. That's not bad. Mountain Dew, $2.52 for a 20-ounce bottle, no cans. Pepsi Soda Wild Cherry is $2.37. Root beer is $3.11. $6.41 is milk if you want powdered milk. There are chips that are like $2.58 for a 5-ounce Ruffles cheddar and sour cream. Sun Valley saltines, snacks, Pop-Tarts, $1.09. Swiss rolls, $3.96. Cookies with wafers. There's a pretty good selection, but if you're a Coke drinker, I think you're out of luck because it looks like they do Pepsi products. Butterfinger, $1.59. Serious? Because that's cheaper than like the store now. Snickers, $1.22. Oh, it looks like they're small. They're 1.86 ounces. Twix bar regular size, $1.59. I'm assuming these prices are updated because I would imagine with inflation they've probably gone up because these prices are not bad. There's shoes. There's ramen noodles, 50 cents. Refried beans. And what I've been told is that you can order refried beans, rice, tortillas. And if you're in the low security places, which we met some of the women in there, they have like air fryers that are in there that they'll make really good burritos and stuff. And with their commissary stuff. Cheetos, $2.69. Chili, all sorts of different stuff. Nuts, condiments, bath, washcloths, and just a lot of interesting stuff. So that's the commissary. There is a TV on here that was, I believe, $200 or $300. I can't find it on the list, but you can. This is a public record. You can make a request to the IDOC and ask for the list, and they'll send it to you, and then you can, take care of the prisoners. You know what else you can look up online? Newspapers.com. And guess what? I've promised and I've delayed because I've been forgetful. I have the winners of our newspapers.com t-shirt winner list. Here they are, picked at random. Greg Porter is getting an XL. I won't say your sizes. Sorry, Greg. He lives in North Ogden, Utah. Brock Kruzik lives in Blountville, Tennessee. Carol Metcalf lives in Decatur, Illinois. Brenda Mooch El Noose, rhymes with house or mouse. Sorry. Mooch El Naus. Sorry, Brenda. Harlington, Texas. And Sean in Milton, Florida. Congratulations and thanks to newspapers.com, the sponsor of Courtroom Insider, who does some great service. You could go on there and maybe we should go on and research commissary items from the past. What kind of snacks do people get in prison? That could be interesting. And when was the idea of commissary introduced? I bet newspapers.com has all that and so much more. You should go check it out if you're interested in that stuff. Big thanks. My heart goes out to newspapers.com for sponsoring Courtroom Insider. And thank you for watching. I don't think we'll be back tomorrow. I was hoping to do something tomorrow. Oh, you know what? We will be back tomorrow. I lied. We have an interview with Mike King that was supposed to run earlier this week. We're going to run it tomorrow. And Gabby Petito's family. We'll have that tomorrow night, Courtroom Insider. Hope you're here. Hope you can join us. And then we'll try to answer some questions and talk about some other true crime things that are happening in the news. But thank you very much for being here tonight. Hope you have an insight into the prison. I mentioned earlier that Lori messaged me after my visit from the jail. I don't have it here, to the prison. And she said that she saw me. And I did not see her, but she said, and I'll read it to you, which is just interesting to me. Hi, Nate, I saw you. I looked out my door about 2:30 p.m. to look at the clock and see what time it is, and there you were. You were facing me, and if you would have looked up, you would have seen me. I don't recall seeing her. They should have shown you my cell. A very talented artist who was an inmate painted Key West Beach on my wall in crayon. It's beautiful, like I'm at the beach all the time. Also, my room is clean and organized. Not sure if they showed you any of those. So they didn't show me her cell, but there you go. She saw me. I didn't see her, and that's okay. Thanks for watching Courtroom Insider, everybody. I'm Nate Eaton. Have a good night. See you tomorrow.